Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 15 of season 4 of The Walking Dead, called Us. Sorry about this review going up a little bit late. I've had some technical problems here on my end, but everything seems to be okay now, so should be back on track for the season finale coming up on Sunday. And I will have the review for that up on Monday. I actually tend to watch Cosmos when the first airing is happening of the show. So by the time I watch the re-airing after The Talking Dead, it's kind of late, and I usually want to call it a night then. So anyway, overall, this is a perfectly okay episode. It's just not really one that I have a huge amount to say about. Let's just kind of start with the small things, and then we'll kind of move on up. First of all, we just sort of briefly check in with Rick and and it's like, yeah, Carl, and Michonne, they're heading towards towards the situation where they can get a big reunion with everybody. We finally get to see Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene fleshed out a little bit more, and I'm especially happy that we start to get a little bit of insight into Rosita as a character, because looking good in a pair of short shorts is about all she's really had going for her prior. And it really is a shame because Eugene and Abraham and Rosita in the comics are all pretty cool characters. I was actually just rereading some stuff with them in it the other week, and I was like, oh yeah, these guys. I remember these guys. I did like them because it had been about 3 years since I'd read any of the Walking Dead comics. I didn't read any of them while I was in Korea. But anyway, so not really a huge amount to say there. It's just, oh man, Eugene, come on, dude. Anyway, the big crux of this episode are what's going on with Daryl and the reunion of Glenn and Maggie, and having Glenn and Maggie get back together is like, okay, finally something good has happened to our heroes. And of course, the dynamic, the relationship between Glenn and Maggie, it's really great because they're very strong people, they're very loving people, and they just really are great together. They're a really great couple team. And just sort of seeing that endure despite everything that's happening, it gives you a little bit of hope. But then we all know exactly how long hope tends to last on The Walking Dead. And Maggie is considered on a lot of people's list really high up on the ranks of people who are probably going to die next episode. So, yeah. Not a whole huge amount to say about what's going on with Tara. Just they're really beating that whole she feels guilty drum pretty darn hard. So I actually think Tara would be up there on the list of people who are probably going to die because, why kill off Maggie? There's still plenty of stuff that they can do with her, especially if you're familiar with the comics. So, yeah, let's just kind of leave that at that. Now the stuff with Daryl, well, this is just sort of to flesh out Joe's group and expose Daryl to an alternate philosophy. Now, what I really like about Joe's group is you realize they picked up the wrong Dixon brother. If these guys had found Merle would have fit right in. Daryl, no, and you can even see a little bit of shades of Merle in Joe. And Daryl's come to the point where he's not going to fall under the sway of Merle version 2.0 anymore. Daryl's a guy who, despite everything that's happened in his life, despite being a very rough around the edges kind of guy, is ultimately a decent person at heart. And the whole world going to hell, that's really brought out the better part of him. He's shown kindness and compassion and friendship to the people around him, especially people like Carol and Beth and Judith. Joe and his friends, yeah, kindness, compassion, caring, yeah, what the hell is that, huh? But I do like that Joe sort of points out that the way the world is now is very well suited towards men like himself. And, well, that can be interpreted in many ways, and Joe would not be the first person to point out that rednecks are unusually well suited to survival in the world of a zombie apocalypse. make of that what you will. But still, we see that I do like that he explains that it really does flesh out why they're making such a big deal out of hunting down Rick. They take him killing that guy and having the guy rise up as a zombie very, very personally. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think Joe and his buddies are going to be that huge of a threat. And I think it's pretty well established that they're not the characters who are considered the hunters in the comics. Now, the folks at Terminus, well, that's what a lot of people are betting are going to turn out to be the hunters, and under the circumstances, I think they're probably going to end up being right. But I can't really say too much more about that without potentially spoiling some big stuff. The big question over my head right now is what happened to Beth. We know that there's one character, I believe his name's Gareth, who is supposed to pop up this season. I can only assume that he's going to play a really big role next episode because, well, it's the season finale. And whatever happens with Beth, I don't think that they would kill her off screen because that just doesn't really pack a whole lot of dramatic punch. You really don't want to kill major characters off screen for no reason. Not when you can kill them on screen and really have it resonate with the audience. Now, if you're familiar with what the deal with the hunters is, you might, like I have, maybe come up with a guess or two as to what might play out in that situation. But yeah, we'll just leave it there. So anyway, I'm just kind of running through everything. Yeah, as long as I'm talking about the folks at Terminus, Mary, who we meet there at the very end, that's played by Denise Crosby, best known as Tasha Yar on Star Trek The Next Generation. I hadn't heard that she was going to be on the show, but hey, this is a really nice little shout out to the geeky folks out there in the audience. And definitely did like the stuff with the zombies in the tunnel, like the zombie with the holes through it, and yeah, just some really nice, creepy stuff there. Man, just imagine what it would have been like to go through that tunnel under normal circumstances. I mean, it's just like, oh man, you don't want to go into dark spaces where there are bound to be zombies. It's just a recipe for bad news. So yeah, lots of stuff in place for a pretty big, showdown finale next season, next episode. There's going to be, I think, a lot to talk about next time around. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So until next time, take care and have a good one, guys. Oh, and of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi.